Welcome back, everybody. I'm glad you decided to join us again for this, the final episode of Let's Play Discworld Noir. If you remember from last time, we found out that Carlotta, who was also Therma, was a member of the True Believers of Anu Anu, who were attempting to summon the Laddering Tear, Nylanathatep, from his home in Sungan Leshp, by in reenacting the ritual octagram of murders that summoned him from before. The plan was, in some way, to have Anu Anu, who is a lycanthrope god, kill him with the golden sword, the Sortian falcon. However, apparently something went very wrong, and Nylanathatep beat up Anu Anu pretty bad. He grabbed him by a tentacle and slammed him into the ground until he couldn't take no more. And things look a little swimming right now, I'd say.
There was something about the walls that I didn't like. I think it was the way they wouldn't stop swimming.
Yes, I'd say that's pretty bad.
I decided against touching the walls.
Good call, Luton. So we have no idea exactly what happened, or why they didn't work. Apparently they had planned things out pretty easily. Or pretty well, to deal with Anu Anu, but warm. Looks like the cult scattered. Oh, there's an inscription on the walls over here.
An inscription had appeared on the wall. Maybe it had been there all the time, and I just couldn't read it. I wasn't sure. It seemed to say, Quod nescient eos interficit. I didn't know what it meant. Quad meant what, but that was all I knew.
Seems like something that might be important, and maybe it would have been nice to know later. Well, Carlotta and Warb are still here, although Warb looks like against his will. So let's see what's going on with them.
For a god, Anu Anu was looking in a bad way.
I'm not sure what the rules are as far as killing gods goes.
I tried to listen in to what Anu Anu was saying, but his voice was weak and faltering.
I should have known. The inscription. I forgot the inscription.
Quiet, Master. Conserve your strength.
The inscription. I wonder if Carlotta knows anything.
Come on, Carlotta, let's get out of here before the rest of the roof comes down.
I'm not leaving my master.
He's not going to make it. You can at least save yourself.
Leave us, Luton. Leave!
Carlotta was obviously upset by Anu Anu's injuries. I guess there was a heart in that cold chest somewhere.
Yeah, she seems to really care for Anu Anu. I wonder if that's affection for her previous husband, or if she actually cares for the lycanthrope god herself. I mean, I guess she considers lycanthropy the greatest gift she could imagine. So maybe she really does care. Let's see about poor Warb here.
It looked as if part of the ceiling had rearranged most of Warb's
Aww.
head. The only thing of interest on Warb's body was the charm bracelet, and I didn't want to take that back. I only hope he got some good luck out of it before his final payoff came. Maybe I should have warned him. Maybe he got what he deserved. Who was I to judge?
Well, that's pretty convenient, Luton, I have to say. Poor Warb. Looks like all he wanted was to make some out of his life, and I guess life made something out of him. A fresco on the floor, to be specific.
Sometimes I wondered if these ancient temples were designed to fall in on themselves at dramatic moments.
It would not be impossible in Discworld.
I searched the rubble and uncovered the golden falchion. The sword was bad luck, but I had a feeling it was safer in my hands than anyone else's.
Very nice. Good to have that. Let's see, anything else of interest? I guess not. See if Carlotta wants the,
You've got to get out of here before it's too late.
No.
It's already too late. Leave me.
Alright, she seems too depressed to really do anything right now, so let's leg it. I shudder to think what state Ankh-Morpork is in. Oh, cool. Hello. I guess, oh gosh, look at this tentacles coming down from up above. Yeah, we messed up, but good.
The terrified cultist was obviously in pain and finding it hard to walk. He wasn't going anywhere. Well, he wasn't going anywhere fast, anyway. What's up with you?
Broke my stupid leg when the roof came in.
Which one are you?
What?
You must be Coom.
How did you know that?
I recognize your voice. Now give me one good reason why I shouldn't turn you over to the Watch.
Please, don't. I didn't think I was doing anything wrong. It was just a little fun, you know? Secret meetings and plots for world domination. I mean, it's intoxicating.
Well, now it's blown up in your face, and at least one member of your cult is dead.
Who was it?
Warb. He had a disagreement with a large block of stone.
I don't want to do... I'm terrified. I suspect that some of the cultists might have wanted us to fail.
Really? Why?
I don't know. Just a hunch. Please don't turn me over to the Watch. I didn't do anything wrong.
8 people died because of your cult.
No. I'm sorry. I should never have got involved.
Where have the others gone?
I don't know. Back to the sanctuary, I guess. They didn't really tell me much. I was only the novice.
Maybe I was getting soft in my old age, but I couldn't escape the feeling that the poor fool was just a victim of peer pressure. I guess he just wanted to belong to something, and he didn't much care what. I sympathized. In my own way. Get going. I don't ever want to see you again.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. You won't regret this.
I'd better not.
I really like that they messed up with the narration cues there, so apparently he just said that right out loud to Coom's face. Anyway, does he know about the falchion?
It didn't seem worth asking about that.
No, alright. So, for all his pretensions to be a spooky member of a secret cult, it looks like Coom really was just sort of a sniveler in the end. Didn't really know what he was doing, didn't think about the fact that other people were dying. Carlotta at least knew what was up. I hope these tentacles don't do anything worse. Anyway, yeah. So that's an interesting quote about some of the members of the cult maybe wanting the thing to fail. We'll have to dig more into that. Well, let's see. We've got a few things to look about. Okay. Now, this part bears a little understanding. As you can see here, there's the big old wiggly Nylanathatep coming out of the disc theater. However, the fact is, he's being summoned out of Leshp and brought into this world, albeit somewhat sort of slowly. And so that is an explanation for why he's not already ripping apart buildings and tearing apart everybody. His world is sort of slowly merging with ours. Obviously, if it completely merges with ours, that's pretty much game over at that point. So we've got to find some way to stop the merging of sunken Leshp with Ankh-Morpork and send Nylanathatep back, presumably, or cut him off, or do something. Anyway.
When I went back to the mansion, the butler had some grim news for me. The Count had shuffled off his mortal coil in the West Disc quake. He was sleeping the big sleep, pushing up daisies, crossing the final frontier, booking a vacation to the underworld. Basically, he was dead. Fortunately, he'd left provisions for me in his will. He'd pay my way to the end of the case, and more importantly, he was allowing me to continue to use the library. Well, what did it matter to him who used the library now he was gone? When you're dead, you were sleeping the big sleep, and nothing much mattered to you anymore. All the nastiness was behind you. For the rest of us, the nastiness was still all around us. And if I didn't stop that nastiness from crushing us all under its tentacles, we'd all be sleeping the big sleep. Frankly, I didn't think the afterlife would have enough beds.
Well, that's interesting. We get a little picture of Luton there. It sounds like he's sort of world-weary. I mean, we knew that, but the whole... when you're dead, all the nastiness is behind you. He almost seems like he's longing for it for a bit, but he's still got enough of the hero inside of him to know that if he doesn't step up and deal with Nylanathatep, nobody is going to be able to. Certainly nobody is as close to the case as he is now. When I said that thing earlier about the the worlds merging. That was to explain why not everybody is in extreme panic right now, seeing the tentacled monstrosity rising up. Not everybody can quite see it yet. I forget where I found that tidbit, but I think it was not in the game, which is sort of confusing when you're playing it through for the first time. Nevertheless, we found that inscription on the walls, so let's see if we can look up what that means.
I worked out a translation for the phrase I'd seen on the wall of the sepulchral temple. What they don't know will kill them. Unfortunately, without something to cross-reference with it, I couldn't find out anything else about it.
Excellent. Well, I suppose that is true. Something that people didn't know was very bad. Alright, well, we know the inscription. Let's see if we can find out if it relates to the Nylanathatep cult in any way. Or the cult of Anu Anu, or let's see if there's any overlap there. Let's see if I can make this work.
I suspected the inscription had something to do with Nylanathatep.
There we go. So you have to look up that, and then we look up Nylanathatep. This is one of those clue wrangling sections.
I had a look through the Necrotelecomnicon discussed for students to see if I could find any more useful information. It wasn't long before I found the phrase that had been inscribed on the wall of the sepulchral temple. Quod nescient eos interficit. It turned out to be the motto of an ancient cult, the dark sect of Nylanathatep, whose emblem was the triple-lobed eye. The tome told me a little of the history of the cult. It seems the mad cultists of the Laddering Horror had conspired to destroy all creation, but their attempt failed. Obviously. And they were believed to have faded into obscurity. I had a suspicion that's exactly what the cult wanted people to think. According to the book, the cult had a sacred artifact, a source of great power known as the Radiant Trapezohedron, which could destroy Nylanathatep or give him dominion over all things, if it fell into his tentacles. There was no description of it, although the author seemed to think it was something small. There was something about a cult plotting to destroy all creation that disturbed me. I had a feeling you couldn't reason with people like that.
Yeah, I think that's probably true. So, we've got an interesting example of basically nested cults at this point in time. We've got the religion of Anu Anu, and within them there's this sort of radical sect, the true believers of Anu Anu, who were plotting to bring back into power their god. And they were going to do that by having him kill Nylanathatep in the summoning ritual. Unfortunately, it appears as though the cult of Anu Anu was also host or infiltrated by an actual sect of for real Nylanathatep worshippers, the dark sect, or the sect of Nylanathatep, who are thoroughly nasty kinds of people, as you would have to be to worship something as mindlessly destructive as Nylanathatep. So, with that in mind, I think we can go out and look for some of the other cultists. Now, we don't really have any leads as to where they might be. However, it's a safe bet that one of them might have bolted for Sanctuary, which was where the true believers met.
I don't know exactly what I hoped to learn from the sanctuary, but I went anyway. Maybe I was hoping that all the cultists would be as easily intimidated as Coom. I was wrong.
You're very sharp, Mr. Luton. You've done a very sharp thing. Maybe even sharp enough to cut your own throat.
You must be Kondo.
I'm flattered. How did you know?
I recognize your voice. You tried to kill me with that crossbow once before.
It's silver-tipped before you get any heroic ideas. The dark sect isn't as sloppy as the cult of Anu Anu.
A cult within a cult.
We couldn't believe our luck. Mooncarve and Therma were looking for people to join their cult, and they actually wanted to summon Nylanathatep. Can you believe that? Do you have any idea how rare it is that someone wants to summon the Laddering Horror for anything other than wreaking havoc and destruction?
Who's we?
Oh, no, it's not that easy. Do you think I'm the overconfident villain who reveals his whole plot to the hero shortly before placing you in an overly complex life or death situation that you then escape from at the last minute?
It might make life easier if you were.
Real life isn't like the clickies, Luton. The good guys don't always win.
What makes you think I'm the good guy?
I don't care what side you're on, Luton. All I care about is that we are victorious and that everything is destroyed.
I just don't understand why anyone would want to destroy the whole of creation. If you want to die, why not just kill yourself?
I'm going to achieve something with my life, Luton. Something that no one will ever forget.
Everyone's going to be dead. No one is going to remember anything.
And that's an achievement no one else can claim.
You're insane.
That's what my psychiatrist said. I had to kill him too. He knew too much, just like you.
Some people say that when you're about to die, your life flashes before your eyes. For me, the world seemed to go into slow motion.
I told you, Luton, the good guys don't always win.
Very true, but they try much harder.
I'm dead, aren't I? Am I going to spend eternity suffering in the pits of hell for what I've done?
If that's what you want.
Oh, I can't believe I'm not going to find out how all this ends after all the work I put into it.
It's never fun being taken off a project you've worked hard on.
That's the last time I get so involved in my work.
How right you are.
When I came to, I wasn't sure if I was dead or alive. That seemed to be happening to me a lot.
Hello again.
Hey,
Have
Dad.
you come for me?
No. I was just passing through and I thought it would be polite to say hello. Isn't that what you're supposed to do with acquaintances?
If you want to scare them to death.
Sorry. I'm not good in social situations.
It must be hard to fit in when you're a 7-foot-tall skeleton with a scythe.
I'll see you later.
That doesn't fill me with confidence.
That, I'm afraid, is your problem.
Alright, so that was Kondo. So now we've got a pretty clear handle on the exact intentions. It was, in fact, like we thought before. I'm not sure how the sign of the eel figures into things yet. Although I guess it is an 8-pointed sign, so that might have something to do with Nylanethotep. So the Dark Sect was apparently summoning Nylanethotep destroys all of creation. So obviously you don't have a lot of people wanting to do that.
I'd killed Kondo, but at least he hadn't killed me.
I wondered if this was supposed to be a action sequence or a fight or something, or at least more closely rendered before they kind of ran out of time. But either way, Kondo was down. So it seems like Coom was definitely not a member of the Dark Sect, but I think we can tell that Kondo most certainly was. So let's see if he's got anything interesting.
On Kondo's body was an amulet. It had to be worth finding out what it was, so I took it.
Interesting. When we looked at the library to look for information about the cult, they did mention this 3-lobed amulet.
Kondo's amulet has a symbol on it that looked like an eye, but an eye with 3 protruding lobes.
Now, they mentioned that this was the kind of thing, this is like the one ring, basically, that could either destroy Nylanethotep or give him ultimate power if it were to fall into his hands, so that's obviously a bad thing. Incidentally, let's just check real quick and see if we can look that up and confirm that that's in fact what this is. Although, even the author of the book on the Nylanethotep cult didn't know exactly what the thing looked like, so this might not be it.
The symbol on the amulet was mentioned in a copy of The Joy of Sects. It was the 3-lobed eye, the emblem of the followers of Nylanathatep, the so-called Dark Sect, who plotted nothing less than the destruction of the whole of creation. Party guys. I bet they were a lot of fun at dinner parties.
I bet they weren't. Alright, so that's that. Let's see, incidentally, if we can get back up here. Business as usual at the Patrician's Palace. Let's see if we can talk to Two Conquers and Leonard, see if they know anything about anything.
When I went back to Leonard's cell, it was lacking a large part of the wall. The disc quake must have taken its toll on the palace.
So I guess
Leonard and Two Conquers were still working on the flapping wing flying device like nothing had happened.
Figures. So I guess there was a huge disquake, earthquake or whatever, when they freed Nylanathatep. Okay, so the Radiant Trapezohedron...
I'd learned about the trapezohedron in the Libraris Apocrypha. I wasn't really sure what a trapezohedron was. Either a geometric shape or some kind of dinosaur, I assume.
Oh, so I guess the trapezohedron is what would give Nylanathatep the power, then. So the amulet we found was just confirmation that this was in fact the Dark Sect.
Does this mean anything to either of you? That symbol is of familiarness to me. I am of fear that I cannot remember what it is to be. Anything you remember could be useful. The symbol is being called the Eye of Three Lobes. That much I am remembering. Well, that's something. The three-lobed eye. One of the books in the library had mentioned that the symbol of the Dark Sect of Nylanathatep was a triple-lobed eye.
Yeah, there you go. I guess that's just another little hint as to what it is, if you're having trouble finding it out. They care about the falchion?
What do you make of this?
Where you this did get?
You recognize it?
Not sword, no. But indenting at end of handle, same shape as gold-plated jewel I is being searching for.
You're telling me that a gold-plated jewel belongs in the pommel?
It would be seeming so.
Interesting.
Very interesting. So the jewel that he's searching for fits in the top of the falchion here. I wonder if that relates to how it was unable to control Nylanathatep. And I further wonder if that has to do with the Radiant Trapezohedron.
Have you heard of the Radiant Trapezohedron?
What is this being?
Well, I don't really know. It's a source of great power. That's the only thing I'm sure about.
What is being a trapezohedron to mean?
It's a type of crystal in which all the faces are trapeziums.
And a trapezium?
A type of quadrilateral with no parallel sides.
No, that's a trapezoid.
No, a trapezoid has two parallel sides of different lengths.
That's a trapezium.
No, it's not.
Where are your family from anywhere near Genua?
My grandfather was. What's that got to do with anything?
Genuine geometry has slightly different definitions to Ephebian geometry. I tend to go by Legibus's definitions in his geometries. Have you read it?
This trapezodendron.
Trapezohedron.
All sides would be consisting of squashed squares.
Well, that's a slightly crude summary, but essentially correct.
That's it. That's the jewel I am being seeking.
Really?
Much yesness. Just like that is being, but with gold platings.
And you were looking for this, right? How close were you to finding it?
I am of some sureness that it is to being in Ankh-Morpork, and I am of the believing that this arrangement of stars is of great importantude in its discoverage.
Can I see that?
Please, take if you wishing. I am not to be having much chances to look myself now. I would be of delighted nature if you would continue the looking for me.
Interesting. Okay. So, we were able to confirm that the Radiant Trapezohedron is in fact the gem that Two Conquers was looking for, that it fits in the pommel of the sword, and that it is related to the cult of Nylanathatep. So I think we can make a reasonable guess as to what happened. They summoned Nylanathatep. However, they did so without the necessary component to the falchion, which presumably would have given it power. Maybe if you stick it in the falchion, it gives it the power to pierce Nylanathatep or something like that. Now that could be because of ignorance, or it could be because they left the recon up to people who were actually members of the dark sect, or the sect of Nylanathatep, which is a very bad career move.
Two Conkers had given me a star map that was supposed to lead to the jewel he was looking for.
Alright. So now we've got a map of stars that lead to where we're looking for. Fortunately, jewels are the kind of things they apparently keep in place. Gosh, this is a big old hole at this point. So to say, fortunately, jewels are the kind of things that stay in place for long enough for star maps like that to be useful. Unless it was out somewhere in the open in Ogmore-Borg, in which case it was certainly stolen by now. You know what? A lot of this cult business started at the Temple of Small Gods, so...
The Temple of Small Gods seemed deserted when I returned there.
Oh.
I could hear mad laughter echoing inside.
Hello, Mooncalf. Hey. How you doing, buddy?
I was drawn to Mooncalf by...
This is the old thing about him.
Mooncalf? Is that you?
Leave this place. Begone. All are cursed. All will be destroyed.
It was Mooncalf, all right.
Hello, Mooncalf. How you doing?
What happened, Mooncalf?
Mother was right. I should have become a tax collector. It's good money, Mooncalf, she said. Better than you learn with that cult foolishness. You've got to provide for your future. Now look at me. I have no future.
None of us have a future unless we can stop Nylanathatep.
Don't say that name. Don't say that name.
Well, I guess this shows that Mooncalf was definitely not in on the cult, I guess. Let's see if he knows about the inscription.
After the summoning, the words Quodnescient Eos Interficit appeared on the walls. What does that mean to you?
No. No, it didn't. That temple doesn't exist. It never happened.
Yes it did.
No! No, it didn't! It never happened!
Okay, Mooncalf. I don't think he's going to be like a whole lot of use here.
How can I stop Nylanathatep?
Don't mention that name!
Okay, let's try a different approach.
I see. Well, what does he think about the amulet?
This amulet is the mark of that entity that you and your cult summoned. I found it on Kondo's body. Does it mean anything to you?
It means that Kondo is a traitor. He won't be the only one. They all hate me!
Uh-huh.
Kondo wasn't a follower of Anu Anu at all. He worships the laddering horror. I think he might have been mad.
Madness! Yes. Sweet singing in my ears.
Seems to be fashionable at the moment. Now listen to me. I need to know
like
who
the
else
laughter.
might have been a double agent.
Who? I'll tell you who. They all hated me. Especially Foyd.
Foyd? The troll?
Yes, the troll. I never liked him. I don't trust trolls.
Where is he now?
How would I know? He wouldn't tell me. He never liked me. Nobody liked me.
Did he say anything to you?
He said he was going to change his identity, make a run for it. Such a coward. Stupid troll.
What about the rest of the cult? Where can I find them?
It's too late for everyone. Nothing can save us now.
Where's your faith? Don't you believe that Anu Anu is the god of gods?
No! I renounce my faith.
Uh-oh.
Anu Anu betrayed me. He betrayed me!
Mooncalf, take it easy. So, this is...
Mooncalf jumped screaming through the stained glass window and began to climb the temple.
This is one of my favorite parts.
I could hear Mooncalf ranting as he climbed up the outside of the temple.
I give my faith to one god, and it brings about the destruction of everything.
It's pretty spry for an old guy.
Gods are nothing but trouble.
Climbing up those sheer stone walls in the rain like this.
You can't trust them. We don't need them. They need us more than we need them.
I do like the programming bug that keeps this crazy laughter going in the background, too.
I'm letting atheism into my heart as my savior!
Oh, Mooncalf. Don't do it.
I am a born-again atheist!
Oh, Mooncalf.
Oh, I can't believe I survived that fall.
You didn't.
You're deaf then.
You've heard of me? I'm flattered.
Oh, what were the odds that I'd get hit by lightning just as I renounced all gods?
About 1 to 1, I'd say. You're not the first. Although I think you're the first to do it from the top of their own temple. Full marks for style.
Thank you, I think.
Don't mention it. I try to make the process as enjoyable as possible.
He does.
So what happens next?
That depends on you. But you've renounced all the gods, so I doubt you'll be off to any of the heavens. Or hells, for that matter.
Well, what about reincarnation? I always liked the sound of that.
Well, it's not really up to me. But if you do come back, can I advise you to be careful what you say on the top of religious monuments?
I'll see what I can do. Do you know, I don't feel so, so dedicated anymore.
Death gives you a whole new perspective on life.
I should never have become a zealot. My mother was right. I should have been a tax collector.
Perhaps in the next lifetime, eh?
Say what you like about Mooncalf. He knew how to put on a show. Unfortunately, he hadn't left me with many leads, although finding Foyd wasn't a bad idea. I had already a lot of practice getting information out of trolls. All I had to do was work out where he was.
Yeah. So that was a pretty excellent ending for Mooncalf. I like the guy, even though he's a little enthusiastic. So no more going back to the Temple of Small Gods for us. We've got to work out where Foyd is on our own. And if you'll recall, Mooncalf mentioned that he said he was going to change his identity and make a run for it. Now, in Rodan's workshop earlier, we had found some plaster-caked bandages up here, and we heard the suggestion from Navi and Pseudopolis that meant that Rodan might have been a plaster surgeon. So Rodan is definitely who Foyd would go to if he was looking for some kind of plaster surgery. So let's see if we can wring any information out of him.
You're back.
Back? Had I gone somewhere?
Here we go again. You dropped these over by Malachite's spot.
His animations take forever.
Oh, did I? Thank you. What are they?
They're bandages. Only the funny thing is, they're covered in plaster.
Really?
I suppose you were making some kind of modification to one of your statues.
Yes, that's right.
Only the funny thing is, none of the statues have changed. Perhaps you could explain that. Shall I tell you what I think? I think you're operating as an illegal plaster surgeon for trolls on the lam. Half-inch on the nose here, a bit extra on the chin. Even their own mother wouldn't know them, eh?
But I never do anything illegal, honestly.
Don't worry, I'm not going to turn you over to the watch. I just want some information.
Information?
Yeah. I know that you're not the best person to come to for information, given your memory.
Yes, that's what makes me a good plaster surgeon. I can never remember who my patients are.
Do you work here?
Not usually. No. I usually work wherever they need me.
But you had to do Malachite here because he didn't have anywhere to go.
Malachite. Malachite.
Oh, come on. He was right here in the workshop.
Oh, that troll. Yes, I did him.
That's what I thought.
Interesting. I don't know if we saw Malachite be worked on. Sorry, I'm just skipping through this because I wanted to take as little time as possible given this long animation. So we really only have one thing we need to know from the guy.
I have to ask some questions.
We want to know where Foyd is.
Okay.
Did you work on a troll named Foyd?
Foyd.
All right, I can't give you a description. All trolls look the same to me. But if you worked on him, it'd have been recently. Have you worked on a troll in the last day or so?
Yes. Yes, I worked on someone down by the river recently.
A street name would be nice.
I'm really hopeless with names.
How do you find people's houses?
I'm really good at taking directions.
Well, where was this troll that you worked on?
You walk to the river Ankh, turn right, and then take the 3rd street on the right. It's opposite an abandoned shop.
An abandoned shop? Thanks. I think I can find that.
Excellent. Alright, well we know where we have to go. So from here, we would walk to the River Ankh, take the 3rd street on the right. So we go down here, 1, 2, 3, and hey, that's Dagon Street. Opposite an abandoned shop, he said. Well, we happen to know this abandoned fish market here.
Where I'd pulled away the boards was an open window.
And across the street, an old place like this.
Foyd, are you there?
No, there's no one named Foyd here.
Don't lie, Foyd. Firstly, I recognize your voice. And secondly, I've spoken to Rodan. Don't worry, I'm not gonna cause you any trouble.
So what's he doing in there? Gosh. That's quite a blow on that door there. What's the Elver sign?
Someone had painted the sign of the eel on the floor. Foyd must have been looking for protection from the laddering horror. I guess he wasn't as stupid as he seemed. Or maybe his self-preservation was strong enough to cut through his stupidity.
For some reason, I really like this scene. I don't know, it illustrates to me sort of the helplessness that a lot of them feel. Mooncalf went bonkers, and before they split up, he talked to Foyd, who said he was going to change his identity and make a break for it, but apparently on seeing the laddering horror, he couldn't even bring himself to get out of the sign of the eel here. So as the rain pours down and the city turns more and more into sunken lesh, he just crouches in his protective sigil.
I could rub out the Elver sign and let Foyd take his chances, but I still had some pity left.
Now, we're not sure how involved he is in the cult.
All you have to do is cooperate with me, and I'll leave you alone.
Were yous followed?
No, I've got cautious about that recently.
What do you want?
No kidding. Alright, let's see what he can tell us.
Nice place you have here.
Cut the small talk. Just ask yous questions and get out.
He's smarter than most trolls.
Nice place.
Sometimes they just loot this so it never goes away, but that's fine. Let's see.
Does this amulet mean anything to you?
Yeah, that does look familiar. That's Satrap's.
This belongs to Satrap?
Satrap.
Are you sure?
Sure, I'm sure. Saw it round his neck.
And where is he now?
Dunno.
So Satrap's another one. Let's see. See what he knows about the cult.
Tell me about Nylanethotep.
No! Ask me something else.
Were you part of the Nylanethotep worshippers?
Not tell yous nothing.
Who are you running from, Foyd?
Not saying nothing.
Do you know what Quad Nescient Eos Interficit means?
That's the thingy. Coordinations interfacet.
The thingy? What does it mean to you?
Dunno.
I could very quickly lose patience with you, Foyd.
So he doesn't really seem like he has a firm idea on what's going on.
Did anyone ever mention the radiant trapezohedron to you, Foyd?
The radiating trapezoidron.
I'll take that as a no.
Okay, so he doesn't seem to know about that either, necessarily. Let's see.
I wouldn't know nothing about that.
Alright. Doesn't know much about that. So it's hard to say what exactly he would know about.
I have the falchion. I think it might be possible to stop Nylanethotep using the sword, but I need to know how.
Dunno. They didn't tell me nothing like that.
Are you telling me that you were part of a secret cult, but you didn't know anything that was going on?
Well, I did what Mooncalf told me most of the time.
Because he was the leader, you mean?
Well, he was the figurehead, but I don't know if he was the leader.
Then why were you following Mooncalf's instructions?
He was my contact. That's how we stayed in touch. Use contact keeps you in touch with what goes down.
I see.
So if we're looking for Satrap, and everybody has a contact that tells them what's going on...
Everyone in the cult had a contact, right?
That's right.
So who was Satrap's contact?
That was Galid.
And where can I find Gelid?
Dunno, but I think he worked as a porter up at the university.
That's all I need to know. Thanks.
Perfect. Okay. So we know that Satrap was probably in the cult, and we know that Gelid worked up at the university.
This Gelid, can you describe him to me?
He's a human.
That's a start.
He's a man.
That's always good for eliminating suspects. Go on.
That's it. He's not very good at description.
Anything else you can remember about him? Clothing? Patterns of speech? Anything?
He says, of course, and that'd be me guess a lot. And I think he said that he's a pedalo.
A pedalo?
Yeah, that's what he said.
Interesting.
Well, we may have met Gelid before.
Let's hope we don't meet again, Foyd.
Yeah. So poor Foyd was actually a member of the inner cult, but probably just used for his bulk in the way that trolls were, and wasn't really told much of anything. However, he did let us into the other things. I'm not sure if Gelid was or not, but Satrap certainly seems to have been, because he wore the amulet of Nylanethotep. So let's just head back to the university and see what we can't do about that.
It had been a while since I'd been to the new hall, and I had a bad feeling about what Mrs. Folmes would have to say to me if she saw me.
Mr. Luton, I was wondering if you'd turn up again.
Can I come in?
No, you're fired. Worst bedmaker I ever hired.
Listen, I have to get inside the university. There's a dangerous cult trying to destroy the city, and I need to talk to someone inside.
That's what they all say. Now goodbye and don't come back.
Is that what they
Wasn't
all
what
say?
I wanted to hear.
Okay, well we can't get in. I think we have no choice at this point but to see if we can get the weight of the law behind us. It's the only thing I can think. She respects law and order, so if we could get...
Things are looking busy in here, Nobby.
Yeah, I don't know what's come over everyone, but they're acting crazy.
Crazy? Isn't that a subjective term around here?
What?
Never mind. What sort of crazy things?
People attacking each other for no good reason. And jumping to their deaths, too. We haven't seen such carnage since the rule of Lord Snapcase. We've got riots out there, and they're not even being started by dwarves. I've never seen anything like it.
It's going to get worse.
How can you tell?
Trust me, this is only the beginning.
So again, not everybody can see Nylanethotep there. I think we can see it because we were present at the summoning ritual, but apparently even his influence is driving everybody crazy. You know, I read something I really liked recently talking about, eldritch things in Cthulhu, and saying that they were really, instead of being enemies or, player characters or anything with a health bar. They're really more ideas. They're sort of this great wriggling beyond something which is opposed to the order that humans think that they can impose on the universe, and sort of a deeper, darker truth. So that's sort of what's happening with Nalanethadep here. I dig it. He's coming into the world, and his mere presence is causing people to fight each other and harm themselves and do all kinds of nasty things like that. But fortunately, Nabi doesn't have to worry about almost any of that.
I need to get into the unseen university, and I want you to help me do it.
How?
Can't you get me some kind of warrant or something?
No, absolutely not. Vimes would go spare if he knew I'd given a search warrant to you.
A search warrant?
Yeah, it's a piece of parchment from the patrician allowing us to search a premises. Or is that a premise?
Well, I need one.
I can't do it, Luton. It's more than my job's worth.
The survival of the city might depend on it.
You'd say anything just to get your own way.
All right, if that's the way it's going to be. How did you get into my office the other day, Nobby?
The door was open.
No, it wasn't. I always lock my door. In that neighborhood, my coffee maker wouldn't last 10 minutes if I didn't.
Well, I found my way in. Let's just leave it at that, eh?
How would Vimes feel if he learned that you'd been breaking and entering onto private property just to fill your own pockets?
You're not going to tell him, are you, Luton? He'd go spare.
Well, you scratch my back and I'll scratch yours.
What would I want my back scratched for?
I mean, I'll ignore your transgression if you get me a warrant to let me into the university.
I don't know about this, Luton. I think...
Act now. You can think about it later.
Okay. Wait here.
Luton does not bring out the best in everybody, and I like that about him. He's an anti-hero, and...
Well, if I couldn't count on him as a friend, I could always count on him as a coward.
Don't get out before somebody sees you.
Consider me gone.
Very good. If you can't count him on, or you can't count on him to bring out the best in people like a hero, but you can count on him to pull the right levers to get what he needs to be done. Alright, so now we got this search warrant.
Open up! Open up!
Hold on, hold on. What is it? Oh, it's you.
I have here a signed parchment from the Oblong office allowing me access to university grounds.
Let me see that.
You'll see it's completely in order.
All right, you can come inside.
This is some interesting bit of politics.
Where did you get this from?
I'm a private investigator. I got this through legitimate channels.
What sort of legitimate channels?
That's not for me to discuss.
This is most aggravating. Right, here's what's going to happen. You wait here, and I'm going to go and have a word with the watch. If this checks out, then I won't have any choice but to let you in. And if it doesn't, I'll be back with the watch to have you arrested. Is that clear?
Perfectly.
Don't touch anything, don't go anywhere. Do I make myself clear?
Perfectly.
I don't like you, Luton, and I don't trust you. But you'd better not cross me on this. I'll be back shortly.
I look forward to it. Sheesh. What did she think she'd do to me? Choke me with a duster? Now to find Gelid. I had to be fast. There was no telling what Foams would do when she got back. I certainly couldn't count on Nobby to back me up when the old battle axe came storming into the watch house.
I like how he doesn't even consider waiting around, which he better not, to be fair. That's an interesting bit of politics, because the watch, the patrician's office, and the university have sort of an uneasy political dance that they go through, so the normal channel of search warrants and things wouldn't be very typically used in the university grounds. So Mrs. Foams is right to go and check this out. Obviously, in this case, it's totally fake, but even normally it would be an unusual occurrence. Anyway, let's go see if we can find that porter. We have some harsh words from Gelid. Uh-oh. This looks bad.
I noticed that there were blood stains on the carpet. The scent of it was overpowering.
Yeah, well, we know what's been happening to Luton recently with bloodstains.
I couldn't stop myself. The scent of blood made me lose control, and I transformed into my wolf form.
Yep.
I followed the trail of blood from the concourse up onto the rooftops. I found the Bledlow's body by the observatory.
Aww.
No attempt had been made to hide it. I don't think the murderer cared.
Poor
I could hear
Gellert.
voices coming from inside the observatory, and even though my better judgment said to stay away, my curiosity drew me on. I
Yeah,
hoped there was a limitation to how many times curiosity could kill the werewolf.
Right, so the observatory.